Hello there and welcome back to some more Silly Car Showdown today. And we are taking a look at the MGB GT. This car was requested by the Scotian Racer, and this has been a car I've been pretty interested in for a while for reasons that are not immediately apparent, because it's just an MGB. I mean, it kind of looks cool. I guess I've actually been in an MGB, a convertible one. It was an interesting experience. Yeah, not a massive fan of this. You might know I'm not a huge British sports car aficionado or anything like that, so it doesn't really tickle my pickle all that much. But there is a certain thing about this car which does, and that occurs when we go to the engine swaps. You see, this car has a bit of a unique engine. It has, well, a 3.2 litre inline-6. That doesn't really matter. A 6.2 litre V8, which we find in anything, and the Turbo Rally, which is in literally anything. But it also has a 3.9 litre V8. This is actually from the Range Rover. This is a Rover V8. And interestingly enough, with this Rover V8, you can actually convert this car into something called the MGR V8, I believe it was called, which was a version of the MGB that actually existed twice. Once in the 60s, and it was canned for handling like a dog, and then they rebirthed it in the 90s, and it was canned for handling like a dog, but then again, the MGB in general was killed off around that time to make way for the much worse MGF. We won't get rid of any of the chrome, because I actually kind of like the way the chrome looks. So yeah, pretty interesting engine swap. I don't know how much power you could get out of it, but it's interesting nonetheless. In terms of tyres, oh god, it's 205s all around. They may be the skinniest tyres we've seen since the Peel. Yeah, those are not big tyres at all, so I would say it doesn't instill much confidence, but I don't expect this thing's going to be massively powerful anyway. Who knows, maybe this V8 will make like 1700 horsepower. I doubt it. The race suspension really does not drop it all that much, just make sure that's race. I saw the way the camber came in and it looked like it was drift suspension for a second, but it isn't. Yeah, PI not exactly climbing. We will definitely have the roll cage and some weight reduction. Right, let's start building up this Rover V8, this venerable old little engine. Yeah, it's pretty much unique to the MGB. There's a couple of other cars that can have it. Maybe some, I think, like one of the old Triumphs and some other. I think maybe the MGA can get this engine as well. Oh my god, we're actually in S1 class. That's impressive. I don't think we're going to get much far through S1 class. But yeah, I was not expecting to get S1. S1 822. Okay, so not too bad. 458 horsepower, 463 foot-pound torque, 2,236 pounds of weight. Not massively exciting figures, but, you know, it's still an interesting, unique engine. 5 seconds to 60, 186 miles per hour top speed. Yeah, a car which is on the slower end of some of the stuff that we've had, but it's not too bad. I will say, interestingly, the PI is actually relatively close to a car that I started off this recording session with, which is the Minor Traveller. So it'll be interesting to see what this car does compared to that one. If you're asking me, I'm going to say it's going to be on the lower end of the leaderboard, but I have a sneaking suspicion this could drive really well. Although I am ready to be proven wrong with those 205 tyres. Let's take it to Edinburgh and see what happens. So here we are once again at our snowy Edinburgh track for the last time, for me today anyway, to see how the MGB V8 Range Rover thing gets along. It's going to get 5 laps to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Ferrari Huracan V12 GT, which is at the time of 135.743. MGB unlikely to beat that. I'm not actually sure what this car is going to do. I imagine it's going to be on the lower end of the leaderboard, somewhere around the 155s, 154s maybe? It remains to be seen. But yeah, either way, I just want to quickly apologise if you hear any background noise during this one. For some reason, we've got the bastard heating on in the middle of April. I think someone's trying to have an April Fool's joke with me, because fuck me, it's way too hot to have the bastard heating on. So I've opened a window to try and get some air in here, much to nil effect, so I apologise for the sound of wind, but who the fuck has the heating on in April? I mean, fucking idiots. Anyways, yeah, the straight line speed of this thing is not there apparently. 135 might be the slowest we've had. I think this may actually be our least powerful car ever. Peel. Peel's not a car though, so I don't really count that. Yeah, we haven't had any actual cars with a motorbike engine yet, so yeah, this is our slowest car yet. Well, I say slowest, least powerful. There we go, that's a better way to say it. Slam dunk straight into there. So, not expecting quick. I'm expecting clean though. I mean, it drives pretty okay for now. I can stick the power down. Haven't really been paying attention to the way it drives though. Maybe I should try doing that. Get my mind off how bastard hot it is in here. This first lap is hardly going to set the world on fire though by the looks of it. But then again, I hit a wall, and also it's the first lap and this thing doesn't get off the line particularly well, so a 2 minutes .322 is not going to be quick enough for this car. I'm trying to decide on its handling prowess. It's weird. It's not as chuckable as you expect, but then again you sort of would because it's got 205 tyres. In terms of keeping its power in check, it's doing a pretty decent job. 450 horsepower. Still quite a lot to go through a 70s chassis with 205 rear tyres, so it's doing pretty okay in that regard. But yeah, the actual front end grip, not as much as you'd expect. It's, yeah, not massively great. Straight line speed's okay for again, I'm trying to sort of preface this by saying for 450 horsepower it's pretty good, but compared to everything else in this series, 450 horsepower is not a lot, so naturally compared to pretty much everything else we've driven, it's not quick. I'm not actually sure, maybe the I don't know what speed the Bentley went down there. Almost hit that again. Didn't know. Yeah, it's a bit of a sort of weird mishmash of disappointment and also harsh reality with the MGB. Like, it's obviously not going to be massively quick because it's working on the downsides, but it's disappointing in the sense that it's not quite as good as maybe I was hoping it would be. 153.915, I mean, that's not bad. And we missed the fucking checkpoint. I hate the checkpoint system in this game. It is the worst thing in the entire world ever. Anyways, to be fair, I didn't help myself. I could have made the checkpoints on this track as wide as possible, but I decided not to get rid of some of the curb crawling, but yes, even I managed to cock myself over sometimes. Yeah, 53.915. So it's quicker than the Cadet. I mean, that's something. The Cadet in this are actually fairly comparable, I guess. The Cadet had really naff tyres from what I remember. I think it had like 185s or 195s or something like ridiculously tiny. That is a lot of wind noise. Yeah. So there's not really much to say about the MGB. It's it's not massively good, it's not massively bad, it's just sort of again, it's a case of reality and disappointment, because this front end just is not turning in the way I'd want it to. 205s on the front are actually somewhat... Are you kidding me? I apologise, I'm slightly drained. We've done 7 of these in a row. Maybe I shouldn't have done, but it's what we're dealt with. Again, the MGB wasn't going to be particularly quick anyway, so I don't think I'm affecting it all that much. And of course the heat thing is not helping. It's not helping, this window is not helping at all. But there you go. can't really say much about it. I have nothing for the MG. The engine's cool, don't get me wrong. I really like the fact that you can change this thing into sort of one of the old MG V8s, which is cool. But, I mean, besides putting that in a low-class sports car, there's not really much more you can do with it. My god. The front end is really understeery. Like, see, it's not good. Yeah. Like I said, the one thing I'd expect from this is to be tossable and light feeling, and it doesn't feel light or tossable. It just feels kind of naff, actually, to be honest with you. It doesn't turn in any better than a modern sports car would. So, yeah. So it's not as good as you... I mean, it makes a nice noise. Don't get me wrong. So it's about as quick as you'd expect it to be. It doesn't handle as nice as you expect it to, but the rear end does stay planted better than you expect it to. So it's sort of, like I said before, it's said a few times actually now, it is sort of that weird mismatch of reality, disappointment, and occasional surprise. I mean, it has a surprise. But I'd really expect this front end to be more planted. I'm not particularly happy that it isn't. I mean, it's not a bad car to drive by any stretch of the imagination. It's not as good as maybe you'd expect it to be. Or it might be better, I don't know. It depends on what your expectations were going into this, but considering it's only got 430 horsepower, I was not expecting this to be particularly bad. So, 153, 611. I think I'd actually put it ahead of the Wooded Wanker, which, to be fair, is about where it should go. It's a better, again, it's not a bad car to drive by any stretch of the imagination. It's perfectly drivable, it's perfectly doable, it's quite good. It's just not as good as I was sort of hoping it would be to make up for the speed deficit that you get by using a lower powered engine. Don't get me wrong, this engine's fun, and I'm sure in like a B-class build this thing would be very good indeed, or probably more C-class. Because you can get the V8 in and keep it in Z-class, which, yeah, I think you can get the V8 in and keep it in D-class actually, so there's plenty of room for modification, whether you want to go handling or whether you want to go performance. But at this classification at SY820, it just doesn't work out well. It just doesn't. I mean, realistically, this should be an A-class car. You know, it's not disappointing in the same way the big old Bentley was, or the Cadet, which was awful. I'm trying to think of anything it's really comparable to, and I can't. You know, no, I really can't think of anything this is massively comparable to. Again, it's not a bad driving car. I would almost recommend it because the V8 is a cool swap, but in terms of the series, it's not a standout. It's not amazing. It doesn't do anything better than a number of other cars can, and they can do it a lot quicker. So, a 153, 181 though. That actually puts it further up the leaderboard than I was expecting it to be. It actually goes in to 24th place. Goes in between the 1350 horsepower Ford Transit Mark 1 and the Hillman Imp, which is actually pretty good when you consider the Transit was running, you know, over triple the horsepower this is, and the Imp was running just under double the power this was. I think the Wooded Wanker was running triple the power this would, and the Cadet was running 700 as well. So from that standpoint, it's good. It's just the front end isn't quite as tight as I'd want it to be. It's just in general, it's not as tight a car as you'd expect from a great British sports car. So overall, the MGB sort of gets a thumbs in the middle / slightly downwards, I guess. I think it could be interesting, but not massively good in any way, shape, or form. Anyways, that is the end of this episode of Silly Car Showdown. I hope you've enjoyed. As always, if you want to cross cars for the series, you can do so in a couple of ways. You can do so in the comment section on my video, you can do so on the comment section of this video when it's uploaded to HD Central, or you can do it in my Discord server, link down below in the description. Go in the request chat and you can put them there. I'd prefer if you do it that way, just because it keeps everything nice and consolidated into one place. If you've enjoyed my content, or if you've enjoyed this video, and you're watching on HD Central and you've got no idea who I am, click the link down below in the description to watch more subpar content on my channel. You might like it, you might not. I probably wouldn't, but you might, I don't know. Yeah, other than that, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.